Hey, it's Monday morning. Time for our Monday Mindset Live. Friends, I'm like so excited to be here. And I'll be honest, I was like, what am I going to talk about today? Um, and one thing that just keeps coming up over and over and over for me, and so I want to share it with you, is um, this talk about getting uncomfortable, right? And people say get out of your comfort zone and get really comfortable being uncomfortable. And that's a lot of cliches. It's a lot of talk. We hear it all the time, but the truth is that when we learn to become really uncomfortable, that's when we experience a growth that we never even knew we needed. um, I want to give you, some of you may know this, some of you may not, but I want to give you a little bit of an insight in how this has really shown up for me over the past several years. James, my husband, and I, being full time RVers, we made the decision to RV. It was literally a last minute decision. We didn't plan to be RVers. We didn't like sell everything and plan this big RV life. No, it was like plan Z. It was so far down the road that it wasn't even a consideration. Like it wasn't even on our radar. It just happened to come about in like a 5-minute conversation. And it's interesting because I wasn't the traveler. I liked to stay home. That's where I felt grounded. That's where I felt safe. It's where I felt secure. It's where I felt the comfortability, right? It's where I felt this familiarity, right? It's just, you almost didn't have to think about a lot of things, quite honestly. And knowing then that we were going to be traveling, I was like, whoa, traveling. Like, I'm not the traveler. How am I going to do this? We're now almost 4 years into this journey, this RV life. And I will tell you, I feel like almost a completely different person because I've gotten so uncomfortable with life and with things that all my growth has happened. Not all. A lot of my growth has happened during these last almost 4 years. And so, how does this apply in business, in life, in money? Well, it applies a lot of ways, honestly. It applies because when you're like starting a business, right? We don't want to, what's the word? We don't want to, what am I trying to say here? I just lost my train of thought. We don't want to like, um, wow, this is a great Monday morning. um, we don't want to bother people, right? We don't want to sell. We don't want to we don't want to hear a no. We don't want to be turned down when we're starting, working on our finances and everything, right? We don't want to have life happen. We don't want to feel like we failed. We don't want to try something new and feel like it doesn't work, right? When we go to work out and even lose weight, think about this. When you're like really wanting to lose weight, you're wanting to be healthier. Maybe it's not about weight, but maybe it's about feeling healthier, right? Sometimes we don't necessarily see the results that we want to see, and it feels kind of like failure. Well, it's pushing through that uncomfortableness that leads us to where we actually want to go. It's oftentimes the reason why we started the journey in the first place, right? And so I just want you to be thinking about where have you allowed yourself to become really comfortable in that now it's actually the thing that's holding you back, right? Where have you allowed yourself to become so comfortable that it is the thing that is holding you back? You might not know what to do that would move you into, being uncomfortable. You might not know like exactly the steps to take, but the place that you can start is knowing where you've allowed yourself to become really comfortable and look at all the things that you want to accomplish, all the goals that you want to see, all the things that you want to have happen, and what needs to happen for those things to come to fruition, right? It's in those revelations, it's in those reflections that you start to notice, like, oh, these are the things then that I'm not doing. This is where I can become uncomfortable. For me, it's picking up the phone. It is absolutely picking up the phone. Uh, I don't even, I'm not even sure why. I'm not even sure why. But picking up the phone and calling people that have reached out for more information, right? With growing my business, calling people that I know that could benefit from help, right? That have mentioned, hey, I'm looking for X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, hey, I got the solutions for X, Y, and Z. But still picking up the phone to make those calls makes me so uncomfortable. But when I'm not taking those actions, I'm holding myself back. I am reaffirming those. And that is giving myself a pass. It's allowing me to um, almost gaslight myself into believing that what I actually want um, isn't achievable, right? And so when you become really uncomfortable, when you put yourself into these uncomfortable situations, that's where the growth happens, and that's where you start to see what you're really made of. Um, I think it's, I think it's hard. I think it's hard when we've got a lot of things going on in life and we want to feel like we are succeeding. And so the thought of, like, maybe you're already doing something that feels pretty uncomfortable, right? And you're like, what else can I do? I can't do anything else. That might be true for the time being. But I also want to encourage you to look at taking this new path. It's like building this new roadmap forward. To get to places that you've never seen before, you really have to do things that you've never done before. And most of that is going to feel very, very uncomfortable. Um, and so I just encourage you to look at, where do you believe you are holding yourself back? Where have you gotten really comfortable lately? And where is it that you want to go? And then looking at, what are the things that you just don't want to do? What are the things that you're like, ugh, I hate doing that. It's okay to acknowledge it. And just because you don't like it, just because you hate doing the action, doesn't mean that it's not good for you either. Right. And so for me, it's definitely going to be picking up the phone and calling people. That is an area that I have definitely allowed myself to not take action in. And it is definitely the area that is holding me back. So I'd like to give you a little bit of a challenge today. What's an area, what's an action, where is a place that you can become that feels so uncomfortable that you know you need to take action in, because on the other side is what you really are looking for. On the other side of that action, that's where it's all going to happen. So, what can you do? What will you do this week to put yourself in the really uncomfortable, to put yourself in a place of opening up for massive growth to come your way? So, little Monday mindset, little Monday, I don't like motivation. I don't think there's such a thing as motivation, but a little mindset training today on getting really uncomfortable. And how do we do that? What actions are you going to take? What challenge are you going to give yourself this week? Post them in the comments. Let's cheer each other on. Let's support each other, because I want to know what your challenge is for yourself. I just shared mine, and I want you, please, to hold me accountable to that as well. All right, friends, have a fabulous Monday. Go get them.